Maxine Waters busted for illegal dealings. Trump supporters get perfect revenge. It seems things aren't looking so hot for the Democrat Party's attack dog Maxine Waters. Earlier this month, the Congresswoman, California Senator Kamala Harris, and the whole California Democratic Party were blindsided by some really bad news as Waters found out she was busted by none other than loyal Trump supporters, many of whom were stealth attorneys working to take her down by calling to attention her illegal financial dealings. Reports are adding that Auntie Maxine was the target of 2 complaints filed with the Federal Election Commission asking for a full audit of the Citizens for Waters campaign. And one of those complaints goes on to accuse Waters of breaking federal campaign finance law. That complaint also names the California Democratic State Central Committee and Senator Kamala Harris, who is a likely 2020 Democratic presidential contender because she's a woman and her skin color is great, for guilting the uninformed American voter into casting a ballot for her. Theomandashia. Do you think Facebook is censoring conservative views? Sign petition to support free speech that tells Congress to stop censorship before 2020 elections. Please help by retweeting and following after voting. Waters is in the hot seat over the multiple ways she chose to raise money and the money she has paid to her daughter. Waters raises money by charging other California Democrats big bucks to be listed on the sample ballot of candidates she supports that she sends out with her mail-owned pieces. Over the past 14 years, Waters' campaign committee, Citizens for Waters, has allegedly paid over $750,000 to Waters' daughter, Karen Waters, and her daughter's PR firm, Progressive Connections. Here is more via Fox News. The first complaint alleges Waters broke federal campaign finance law, and also names the California Democratic State Central Committee and Senator Kamala Harris, a likely 2020 Democratic presidential contender. The conservative National Legal and Policy Center is still drafting a second broader complaint focusing on the sources of money going to the Waters campaign and flowing to her daughter and the accuracy of campaign finance reports, said Tom Anderson, director of the group's Government Integrity Project. Representative Waters, first elected in 1990, has been in the headlines lately for her calls to impeach President Trump and statements urging public confrontations with his cabinet officials. Well before her current political fame, though, she mastered this somewhat rare form of fundraising in slate mailers. California's top politicians as well as local office seekers have given far in excess of legal contribution limits to her campaign to be on her slate of endorsed candidates. The campaign then pays Karen Waters and other firms to produce, print and mail the sample ballots. The FEC approved the practice by Waters in 2004. Maxine Waters found an old provision and turned it into a cottage industry, Anderson told Fox News. However, the FEC complaint filed on July 25 states that the California Democratic Party paid $35,000 to the Waters campaign in 2016 to include the endorsement of Harris' Senate candidacy on the mailer. The FEC complaint, which cited an October campaign finance report, contends a third party is not legally allowed to pay for the mailer of a candidate without a reimbursement under the 2004 FEC advisory opinion. A separate report shows that the Harris campaign paid $30,000 to the Waters campaign earlier in 2016 for a primary slate mailer, but no subsequent payments. The Democratic State Central Committee of California's $35,000 contribution to Citizens for Waters violated campaign finance limits, the complaint states. Neither Waters' congressional office nor her 2018 campaign responded to phone and email inquiries. Karen Waters also did not respond to phone messages. A California Democratic Party spokesman and Harris Senate office did not respond to phone and email inquiries. The mailers continue to be a lucrative source of funds. For the 2018 election cycle, FEC data shows, as of July 28, that Democrat Gavin Newsom's gubernatorial campaign paid $27,000 to Waters' re-election campaign to be in the mailers. The state Democratic Party snubbed Senator Dianne Feinstein this year, but she paid $27,000 and has the Waters endorsement. Candidates for state assembly, sheriff and judges paid between $2,000 and $12,000 to Citizens for Waters to be included on the mailers. FEC data also shows as of July 28, Citizens for Waters paid Karen Waters $54,000 so far for the 2018 election cycle, mostly for slate mailers but also for other campaign work. The congressional campaign paid her $72,000 in the 2016 cycle, according to the Center for Responsive Politics, which tracks money in politics. In November, Waters is facing Republican Omar Navarro, 29, a small business owner. The 79-year-old incumbent beat Navarro in 2016 with 76% of the vote, and outpaced him again in the June jungle primary in which both parties can run with 72% of the vote. She is going to be re-elected no matter what, Anderson said. She comes knocking and other politicians in California to say, "Do you want my endorsement?" because she knows they don't want her opposing them. Her rising profile in opposing Trump likely gives her more clout, Anderson said. "If you don't pay to be on her slate, then maybe you're one of Trump's people," Anderson said. A local politician, like a judge, does not want to be on her bad side. Legally, candidates are paying a reimbursement for the slate mailer, rather than buying an endorsement. But it's difficult to prove whether the Waters endorsement comes as a result of the payment or if already endorsed candidates are paying for their share, said Adav Noti, a former FEC Assistant General Counsel. Those payments are legitimate if it's approximate to the cost for the entity producing, printing and sending the mailers, Noti, now a senior director at the Campaign Legal Center, told Fox News. Without seeing the information on the cost of the mailers, it's difficult to say if there is anything inherently wrong with the math. Federal law technically limits individual campaign contributions to $2,700 to a candidates committee and $5,000 to a political action committee. Watch the latest video at foxnews.com. Why don't these crooked politicians just be quiet? The only reason any of this came to light is because Maxine Waters started telling people to confront those who work for President Donald Trump. It's like they are so embedded in the swamp that they just can't fathom the fact that we the people are taking over our country. And trust us, Auntie Maxine, if our history is any indication, the corrupt don't do well once us Americans discover who they are.